Welcome, class. We're here with another guest, Victor Nawrocki, and he has a very interesting story coming from with his fandom and then also his business as a real estate agent, and kind of how he combines those two aspects of his life, his fandom of Disney and his business, how they combine and some of the interactions he's had. And so, without me talking too much more, I want to introduce Victor. And Victor, if you could tell us how you got into Disney, so kind of where your fandom comes from, how you became a fan, and then leading up to how you are, what you're doing today with your
Sure.
business. And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's see. I first visited Disney World in 72, and I wish I had been a new infant, but I was 12. And I vividly remember everything about that trip. My sister always jokes, like, how do you remember these things? But I remember every ride we went on. I remember um, we actually surprisingly shows what a good dad my father was, because we really did hit a lot for one day. It was crazy. And I remember vividly coming in on the monorail and seeing the hotel and the Contemporary, and saying to my father as we were standing there, and going and saying, "What's that?" And he goes, "Oh, that's their hotel." And I went, "Oh, why didn't we stay there?" And he said, and see, he goes, "Well, it's booked up for 2 years." So at that point, because that was the only hotel back then. Um, in fact, we had to stay in, I think, Cocoa Beach, that, and then drive first thing in the morning over, did the parks, and then drove to like Sarasota. We couldn't even find a place in Orlando to stay. So I loved it then. I remembered all the rides. I remember where I was sitting. I remember that my sister and my mother didn't get on the teacup ride. I went on the teacup ride with my father. And for me now, sometimes it does get like, oh gosh, I got to take the monorail to the park. I got to go and get on the monorail. But then you get on the monorail, and then there's a little kid, and they see the castle for the first time. And it's like, that is really touching, because they're going to remember it the way I remember it. So I like to keep my freaking mouth shut. And just sit there and enjoy it. But so then I had moved out to Los Angeles and went to my second visit would be when I started going to Disneyland. Then I moved back to the East Coast, lost my job up north 10 years ago, thankfully, because it was killing me, and came down here, and you know um, bought a house at a third of the price it is now. Um, Started making money from real estate, and started saying, well, what the hell? I should be doing this. My agents have been really terrible. And that's what got me into it. And then I started getting more into addressing specifically Disney fans, because I realized a lot of people were like me and wanted to live right near Disney. And that just completely 180 degrees turn on my business. 180 degrees. I don't know if I would still be right now if there wasn't social media and if I wasn't near Disney. Because um, I just can't get any enthusiasm for selling in New Jersey. You know, so what? It's a big house and it's 50 years old. I'm selling new construction, brand new houses. You treat it right, it'll treat you right. you know. So, and that's basically what I got into, what got me to focus on Disney is Disney fans, is that they have a great attitude, and they they want what I want. They want to be able to go to the park once a week, twice a week. I have customers that are there every day. I don't know how they do it. Now with the pandemic, you have to pre-book, but they still get in there a lot of times. I only get in there like once every 2 weeks, but I don't spend a lot of time there. I don't spend the whole day there. I spend a couple hours and I go, you know. So it's really, but it's been addressing specifically a specific niche market is key to any real estate business. When you try to learn everything that's around you, it's like trying to learn golf and boating and all these other specific markets. Well, nobody can do all that. So if you find something you really love and you incorporate it into your business, well, then it becomes something that find the fun and snap, the job's a game.
Yeah,
I always
definitely.
bring it back to Mary Poppins.
Well, and that's a very good place to bring it back to. Mary Poppins is known as kind of the one of the happiest times at the studio when they were making that movie.
Yeah.
So and so you said something in there. You said two things in there.
Mhm.
One, when you said about you get on the monorail and you see a kid and you see them see Cinderella's castle for the first time, um, and how magical that is. And then also a little bit later, you said um, there's just a difference with fans of Disney that it's more positive. What be it? What do you think? How are those two related?
Okay, fans
Like
of Disney and
fans of Disney and like the memories that people have, like their first
oh
visits and everything. I
yeah,
mean, you
you know
remember your
what?
first visit. I remember my first visit. Like, how do you think that all plays into this?
Well, I think that, I say it in one of my ads. Um, do you ever do you ever feel like you don't want to leave Disney World? And I actually have a picture of one of my customers holding on to the the fencing around the flag at in on the Main Street
Hmm.
Park, which I always forget the names of everything, but town center
Hmm.
thing. And she's holding on to the fence, and her husband's pulling her leg and going, "Come on, we have to go." And a lot of people have taken that picture.
Yeah.
And so I always go like, what I say is, do you ever feel like you don't want to leave Disney World, like you want to live at Disney World? And I think there's a great deal of people who, if they had the opportunity, do want to live near Disney World.
Hmm.
And I mean, they even have 270 houses
Hmm.
within Disney World Park, which is Golden Oak, um, that were built recently. I mean, there are estate homes at $2 million, but please send me a customer. Um, but and I think that their attitude, when they, in any niche market, they feel like it's someone who they can relate to.
Yeah.
And that has really helped me a lot, because, and I didn't really think about it at first. I just said, gee, a lot of people want to live near Disney World. I should start advertising towards them. And so I do that. That's what I focus on. That's what I
Yeah.
focus on. I mean, all my marketing is, my website is disneyatyourdoorstep.com.
Hmm.
So and there's a couple, I'm not the only agent that does it. I'm the only agent that does it right. But there's other agents out there, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of competition in this marketplace. Um, and a lot of them do focus on, people, but I think they also do other things too, and they do the golf, and they do the, and I'm like, you can't be a fan of all those things. You have to be a true fan to be able to sell to true fans,
And
and if you're not a true fan, you're like going, because it's like it doesn't it in real estate it matters, in other business it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're like, for example, my electrician. If he doesn't even know what Disney is. He's
mhm,
never. He said, "What? I have a monorail that runs in when you enter my house. There's a monorail in this little gallery area that I have suspended that runs around. It's a double track monorail. It cost me $300 to do that, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?"
yeah.
And I'm like, No, 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 that's the monorail. What are you crazy? You don't know what the monorail is? Anyway, but it wouldn't matter to an electrician. But to real estate, knowing your market is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And when people say, and when people come here, they stay in Kissimmee. Nothing negative towards Kissimmee, but the areas that there are hotels in, I would not want to live in. So their image is not as the high quality as I live 1 mile from Disney World. It's directly that way.
Mhm.
Um, and people don't even know this community is here.
Yeah.
They have no idea that when you go north or you go west, you hit an incredible area
Mhm.
that has really been untouched for till like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So people don't know the areas. They don't know. They have so when they unfortunately when they see what they see normally, where they may have a vacation rental, those areas aren't places that you'd want to spend your retirement years in. You
Mhm.
know. On the other hand, we've got an over 55 community that you could literally walk to Disney World.
Yeah.
And if there if there was a sidewalk to Disney World, they specifically don't put sidewalks in. Um, but you could actually walk there. It's so close. It's like
Yeah.
2 miles, and you're at the and you're seeing the entrance.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
and that's coming new. So there's all this new development here because this is one of the hottest areas in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, and it
Real estate.
is. And you're absolutely right with having that connection with people and being able to speak to someone about what they enjoy and them being able to see that you enjoy it as well.
Yeah. Well, you
And
know what?
what type of bond that creates.
Exactly. So when I'm talking to them, half the time we're talking about real estate, half the time we're talking about what their favorite ride is at
Hmm.
Disney World. Um, and so I'd be in the car with them when we're just talking about all we talk about is Disney World, you know. And then I sort of say like, well, if I go over this a lot with them. I say, how often do you think you're going to go to Disney World?
Hmm.
How long do you think you're going to stay there? Are you going to go for the whole day? Well, if you're going for the whole day, you can live in Leesburg, which is an hour and a half drive. But if you want to go and just have a meal there, or just do a therapeutic walk around the world's
Hmm.
world showcase, well then you can live, you should live closer
Yeah.
if it's within your budget. But so I mean, I had ones customers where we time how long it takes to get to Disney World, and then I'll say like, well, your favorite restaurant that you go to where you are now, how long is the drive is it to that?
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, it's about 20 minutes. Okay, well, now you're 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to drive in, park, get out of your car, take a not, not a short walk usually, but a little walk into the park, check in, and and go and have a quick service meal or a
Yeah.
scheduled meal. So, it's a discussion on that level of how often, but for me and most locals, we like to go for just 2 hours, two and a
Yeah.
half hours, maybe come at a lot of people like to come after work. Some will do it on their way home. Um, Magic Kingdom is a little difficult to just drop in because you
Yeah.
have to wait for the monorail and then take the monorail in. The monorail is you'd think it was fast, but it takes another. So I do want to start using Uber and just drop me off
drop
at the park, okay?
drop you off. Yeah, pretty close to the front gate, or as close
Well,
as you
I
can.
live like I would say 7 minutes from Grand Floridian.
Okay. Okay.
So, but it is maybe half a mile that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, God, if I could just cross that creek, I'd have
Yeah.
what a life I would have.
If they had the airport they originally had, or the short takeoff and landing airport when they opened the parks, that was the thing, is people could land and be 5 minutes or 3 minutes from the front gates.
I think I don't know. I have to figure out where that airport is on the map. I wonder if it's closer to my house or closer to because it's still there apparently,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
get confused.
If you pull up on Google Maps, it's I forget what they use it for now. They use it for kind of other storage and everything now.
Okay.
But yeah, you definitely can see that. There used to be a landing strip there, or
Wow.
there still is a landing strip. But so, what do you think how do memories that people have of the parks, or have of um, their love of Disney, how does that influence, one, them wanting to move to the area,
Hmm.
and two, finding someone and working with someone like yourself who is a Disney fan like they are?
Yeah. Well, I think that it's the same in real estate as it would be, when you have a real estate agent and you find out that they live in an apartment and they've never bought a house before and they don't even live in the same area. So, no offense to those people. Of course, we all have to start our businesses somewhere. But when I first got here, I knew a lot about vacation rental properties. So that's what I was, you know, selling because they were at extremely low prices back then. Um, so it's a camaraderie of you knowing what they know and liking what they like, and you've already achieved the goal that they have. So so they're saying, well, I want to retire here or something, and I've always wanted to live here. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think I ever I don't think it came into play. Like, I bought my first house down here 12 years ago when I was working another job, and the first agent that took me out was so miserably horrible by not having listened to anything that I asked her for. I asked her for a 2-story with a nice view, um, foreclosure,
Hmm.
because I wanted a good deal. But I didn't really know enough about buying real estate. And I guess the internet wasn't as powerful as it is now. Um, but she took me to 1-story, no view, new construction. And then we went to another house and I said, well, this is exactly what I want. This is beautiful. Can I rent it short term? And she goes, oh, no, you can't. And I went, okay, but that's what we discussed. She goes, I said, because I want to use it when I come to town. She goes, well, then you stay in a hotel. And I'm like, so I was not going to buy. And then I got a real estate agent that was sort of in the middle. She was pretty good. But, both of them weren't listening to anything that I said. And I said, when I lost my job, I said, you know what? I'm going to go down and live near Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
So I was probably the only person in the world who lost their job and bought a new house. So, yeah. And so then I came down here, and then it was just really weird incidents that two people that I knew were telling me, you got to get into real estate. You really got to get into real estate. And I'm like, oh God, no, I didn't want to do that. Because of the experiences I had with these terrible agents. And then I started to think, well, if they could do such a terrible job, I could do a great job. And then I started, and and the first 4 or 5 years were very, very tough, because I didn't have a commonality with these people.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do. My customers, when they call, I talk to them about Disney, what their favorite ride is, what their favorite park is, where they're going to, so have you seen World Drive? Have you seen Buena Vista Drive? Okay, well, that you could live right at the end of Buena Vista Drive, or I could bring you to Western Way. Have you ever been out there, the Coronado Springs? Okay, if you go west of Coronado Springs 3 miles, I can get you a house there.
Yeah.
And they go, really? And I'm like, yes, because they're building out there now. 5-10 years ago, it was empty space.
Yeah.
It was like pastures. So when you could talk to them about things that they can relate to, like I said, have you ever gone behind the castle? Oh yeah, we saw the working area, but we didn't seem very welcome there. And I go, yeah, then now there's a new entrance right there that could bring you out to some terrific townhomes that I could sell you at 300. And they're like, sold.
Yeah.
Because, it's like in real estate, you have to know your niche.
Yeah.
You have to. And I think too many people want to be multiple niched.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really know what they're selling. I'm actually surprised now with the pandemic that I'm still selling. And for me, when real estate is being sold, that means people are hopeful.
Yeah.
Nobody buys a new house when they're scared about the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've been selling here, the new construction builders can't keep up.
Yeah.
They absolutely cannot keep up.
I know a metric of health is kind of economic health is building, and when people and corporations are building and they're building new homes and everything, that's always a good thing. So
and Disney's building like crazy. Disney's building, so they know we're going to get through this. And they're doing what they can to keep the hope alive. Unfortunately, they had to let people go, which is tragic. But they didn't let everybody go.
Yeah.
Which is worse. And I know of a lot of people that have lost. I actually know a couple of my friends have lost their jobs, but they've got other avenues that they can go to, but they want to be at Disney.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully, as soon as it's safe, hopefully they'll start to, people can start to go back, and people can start to be hired, and because it is.
Well, my favorite thing is the Streetmosphere at Hollywood Studios. I mean, people laugh at me when I say that Hollywood Studios is my favorite park. I just absolutely adore it. I went there the first time how old is my niece? 26. So it was 25 years ago was the first time I went there. It was before they built the Tower of Terror. And 20 years later, my niece ended up working there and getting into the management program, and that allowed her to get a terrific job now. So it's just funny. It's like Disney can be really part of your whole life,
Yeah.
and still, I mean, when I think that, I mean, I can hop on rides that I used to have to wait 2, 3 years to go to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, sometimes it's like like I say, seeing it through other people's eyes, because sometimes you're like going, oh God, this is like going to the grocery store. There's not, I've been here a million times. But you always find that thing that makes you just, enjoy it for that
Yeah.
day. Um, I'll tell you that once I started dressing a little better at the parks, I started, because I cannot imagine people taking all these pictures and they're wearing clothes that they're not going to go, oh, wasn't that nice outfit that I wore? You're going to be like going, oh my God, why did I wear that crappy t-shirt? you know, but I go to the parks, and the first time I did it was, this started like 5 years ago. I went to Dick Van Dyke's birthday in Disneyland, and they had a big event and stuff like that. And I dressed up as Bert from Mary Poppins. I have the whole 2 Bert suits. And so then one day I said, oh, let me wear it to the parks, because it was like Dapper Day or something like that. And the attention I got was insane. It was like, it was like, it really was. It was like I was carrying a bunch of balloons and handing them out.
Yeah.
The people were like so enthusiastic, and I'm like, oh, this is fun. I'm just talking to all these people, and they're in the process of one of the happiest times in their lives.
Yep.
And you're talking to them, and they're coming up to you rather than you coming up to them, because I
Yep.
don't like to come up to other people and go, hi, I like your outfit, but they're coming up to you and saying, wonderful things like, oh, where'd you get that, and everything like that. And I said, wow, this is really nice. And then so then I went out and I got the Bert pattern on a shirt. um and and that cost me too much money, the first one. And I wore that to the parks, and people were still like, oh my God, I can't believe this outfit, this is great. I mean, people taking pictures with me.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I went to Hollywood Studios and the Streetmosphere, and I was wearing what I thought was just an average shirt. I mean, it wasn't anything special. It had a print of all the treats, the pretzels and the premium bars.
Mm-hmm.
I think it had a turkey leg on there. And so I'm wearing the shirt, and there was one of the character actors there, the Streetmosphere. Everybody's taking pictures of me.
Yeah.
So I think her name is Betty Shambles, the character's name. She goes to her supervisor, calls her supervisor over, and she goes, you see that guy? Get him out of here, because he's taking attention away from me. And it was so cute. Oh my God, it was so cute. So I am addicted now to dressing a little bit better, just having something that calls attention. It's part of my thrill of being at the park. And a
Yeah.
lot of people do this. I mean, there's a whole Dapper Day thing.
Yep.
I have some friends that she makes these elaborate dresses, and it's just the same thing. You're walking there, and you make it a little bit more special for other people.
Yeah.
Funny story. I have a jacket with this fabric on it. And actually I have to, it's a disease. Anyway, but I have a jacket with that fabric on it. And I was on the monorail one day and went to the parks, and it was just hysterical, because my handyman sends me a text message and goes, were you at the parks just earlier today? And I'm like, Yeah, I was. Why? He goes, well, I sat down at dinner with some friends of mine at Epcot, and they said they saw this crazy guy wearing this great suit, and they showed me a picture of you. And he's like, I know that guy. And then another time, someone took a picture on one of the fan sites, posted that they loved how when people dress up at the parks. And another person said, posted, yeah, I saw that guy last week. This was what he was wearing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's unbelievable to me. You know, it really just all I do is just find a nice fabric, have someone sew a shirt for me, or sometimes I get them on Etsy. And you know, and I have my interchangeable hat, which is, this is my creation, where I bought the hat. I actually, these are the hats that they wear in, you know, Main Street, where
Yeah.
the guys wear special straw hats. Dapper Dan's wear
Yep.
these hats, the same brand. Because I said, give me your hat. I want to see who makes it. And then what I do is I it's crazy, but then I put another ribbon on it, and I got a totally different hat.
Oh yeah.
So I love doing that. The first day I wore the orange bird shirt to the parks, I heard someone running behind me. And I'm like, because you don't, if there's someone running in Disney World, there's something wrong. You know, you don't run at Disney
Yeah.
World. So I turn around, the guy's running, and I'm like, oh my God, what's he running from? And he's like, he comes up to me and he goes, wait, where'd you get that shirt? I was like, oh, it was so funny. And I honestly do think that because I never used to see orange birds on men's shirts before, but it started like about a year later after I started wearing the orange bird on my shirt. And now it seems, you know, Etsy has some, you know, but I found the fabric from someone who makes it for women's skirts, and I said, could you just give me a couple of yards of that fabric? And then she started selling the fabric,
Yeah.
you know, by itself, which was, you know, she had never done before.
Yeah. Well, and it, you know, it's that idea of somebody seeing someone dressed the way that they either would like to dress or think, hey, it would be fun to dress that way. And then it kind of, you know, it kind of human nature, we see someone else doing something, it makes us more comfortable doing that.
Well, and
Right.
also what
So
happened was they stopped allowing people to wear costumes to the
yeah,
park.
yeah,
Now, when they stopped doing that, that gave a lot of attention to dressing up at the park.
yeah.
And people were like, oh, I can't dress up at the park. Oh no. I'll show them.
Well, and so
And then
because
so they went from costumes to maybe more cosplay type, you know, and now they're saying, yeah, you can
yeah,
wear costumes to the park. I think it's a bad idea to wear full costumes to the park, because they think you work there.
mm,
And, you know, and when I wore my full costume to Disneyland, it wasn't Dapper Day. A lot of people thought I worked there.
yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't work here, but I think the bathroom's that way.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Well, and I was
you don't
going to
work
ask
here. Why
you
are
if
you dressed like that?
I was going to ask if you've ever been, uh, if you had ever thought somebody worked, if anyone ever thought you worked at the parks, if you had
Oh,
ever
at least
been
once a
confused
visit.
for, yeah,
And
uh,
when I wear the this type of hat, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Definitely people think I work there, and but that even starts a conversation too,
yep, yeah,
because, like, you know, I'll say, you know, I don't work here, but thank you. It's certainly better than people thinking I work at Dollar Tree. you know. I mean, I don't want people to think, sorry to anybody who works at Dollar Tree, but you don't have to get dressed up to work there. But so yeah, it's funny because I have people thinking that I work there, and I don't realize when they're asking me something, and then I look and I go, no, I don't work
They
here.
start looking for your name tag, huh?
I'm like going, no, I don't work here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to get a name tag.
If so, and I guess we should take a step back and just briefly explain. Um, if you if you ever see Victor on social media, um,
Oh yeah, become a fan,
every
please.
every time every time I have seen him on social media, he is completely coordinated in the parks. He is someone who definitely does, um, as you said, draw the attention, welcome the attention. Um, the that bow tie was amazing. I glanced down and saw it. But
I know, I love it.
so when you're dressed like that in the parks,
Yeah.
um, how do you think that does that impact your business prospects as
Mm.
well? And do you dress how do you wear Disney um, clothing when you're showing houses?
I do now.
Okay.
I do now. After with the pandemic, I started. When I first started getting into dressing up at the parks, which was really 2, 3 years ago when I really started to coordinate a bunch of different things. Um, I posted online, and I do this quite frequently, where I'll say, I'm choosing between this coordinated outfit and this coordinated outfit. Which one do you think I should wear today? Because I've already made my decision. And I posted it online, and a real estate friend of mine who works in Long Island said, Victor, you have to stop this. Your customers are watching your page. They're going to think you became completely unhinged. Well, the response that he got from my fans was shut him down so much that he unfriended me. Because he was getting
Yeah.
hate mail. And I'm like going, because and they were supporting what I was thinking, that it's not such a bad idea to show my customers how much I love
Mhm.
Disney. And then when the pandemic happened, I mean, I do dress casually when I go to see properties and stuff. I don't um I because it's you never know where you're going to have to walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know if you're going to, I'm always in sandals. I'm selling a lifestyle. I'm not selling a business. I'm selling a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, so I come up, and our first, when I walk in, if I'm wearing my Andy's room shirt. By the way, this is decorated not because I really like it this way, but it's part of my, when I do my live streams and
Yeah.
talk about real estate, I want to have something that makes them think, oh wow, this guy loves Disney. So, that's what it just, I'll come up to them and I'm wearing a shirt, and if it's a new construction, the sales managers know me and they go, oh Victor, I haven't seen that shirt before, and I'm like, yeah, I love it, but let's get down to business. you know I do think sometimes that it does make people think that I'm too much fun and I'm not serious, but I weigh that against me being able to, to relate to what their needs are.
Yeah.
So the relating to what their needs are and the professionalism comes in my talk.
Yeah.
Um, where I start saying, this is how, you're not, this is not the way you buy a house. This is the way you buy a house. You know, I sometimes I tell people, did you learn how to buy a house watching I Love Lucy? It's not the way you do it.
Yeah.
you know So, and but so I do think I do think it helps my business to be a Disney fan. I don't like to think I'm a fanatic. I mean, I really don't think I am. I mean, because I see with the fanatics and I go, whoa, glad you're loving it, but I can't do it that much. But anyway, I hope that roundabout thing answers your question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, thank you for that. I think um, another thing that we had talked about before we started recording is because you are so coordinated when you're on social media,
Mhm.
um, and how your fandom influences your business and business influences your fandom. Um, do you know how many shirts or combinations with the shirt and the hat that you have at your disposal?
Well, my mother's not going to watch this, so I don't want her, and so it wouldn't upset her that I've spent so much money. But I have about 80 shirts.
Okay.
And once I counted them one day and I said, this is too much because this is enough to go to the parks, like, basically. And I hate to say it, I have 6 more coming. So, but yeah, I have about 80 shirts. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jackets. Um, I have 2 Burt suits. I have a beautiful gold jacket with embossed Mickeys and Donalds and
Mhm.
Goofy. That is like I asked my niece, "Can I wear it to your wedding?" And she was like, "No." Oh, I should have wore it anyway. My other niece said, "You can wear anything you darn well want, if as long as you show up." So
That works, huh?
yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I really do have a lot. And it's become like my little thing that I don't think I overindulge. Overindulging would mean that I didn't have money to buy other things, and pay for my needs and stuff. So, but it does get it's a little bit like, okay, now I have to be more selective what I buy.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times I buy, like I have 2 of these Andy's Room shirts because
Mhm.
I love them so much. Um, so some things that I really, really like, um, I have 2 of. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to wear it all. I mean, there's some that I haven't even worn,
Yeah.
which is like, oh, what's the point of that? So, like, then now I'm going in, I'm going, okay, I haven't worn this to the park. I'm gonna, like, I have a really nice one that's the Stretching Room Haunted
Okay.
Mansion
Yeah.
portraits. I have 2 different versions of that. One is with the regular portraits and one is with the villains.
Yeah.
Um, So I have 2 different versions of that. So then I'll coordinate it with like a hat that matches, like, oh, right here, the
Oh yeah.
the, the Haunted
Yeah. The
Mansion.
wallpaper.
Yeah, and this is the height of my sickness, but I also have some vests too, but I they really have better materials for women's stuff than they do for men. But like this was a woman's yeah, that's it. Um, dress.
Okay. Yeah.
So I bought love those triple X sizes. I bought a triple X woman's dress in that pattern and had my seamstress cut it up
Yep.
and she made a hat and a vest out of it.
Okay.
So, but and then sometimes you'll find online, like on eBay and stuff, you'll find fabric. Like, for example, I don't know if you can't really see. Let me see if I can show you. Okay, this is my room. So this fabric here on these curtains
Yeah.
is from Pop Century Movies.
Okay.
I think they had it as their curtains. So someone was selling it online for, get this, $5 a yard.
Yeah.
I was like, how much do you have?
Yeah.
I think I took like, so I've made curtains, I've made jackets, I've made pillows, I've got a tablecloth with it. Um, so, and it ended up being less expensive than if I bought a new curtain. So why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So but yeah. So anyway, it's part of my sickness, but
Well, no, it's fun to see. It's fun to see someone enjoying themselves and enjoying and using the way that they dress to enjoy themselves and and
I think it does.
allowing their fandom to kind of drive or help what they do professionally and professionally to help their fandom. I mean,
Yeah,
it's and like I said earlier, I think it helps people when they see someone dressed. Um, it kind of helps them open up a little bit and helps them maybe do some things that they or dress the way that they want to dress in the parks or feel that it's okay the next time that they come through the parks. Would you um another thing before we transition to our last segment,
okay.
do you think, because you brought up earlier not being people not being allowed to wear costumes, people going into cosplay, um would you consider what you do in the parks and what you wear, would you consider that cosplay, or do you think cosplay is more kind of character driven
I
and
think, well, I think the cosplay is more, when I go and search cosplay, it's the full costume, really.
okay, yeah,
But my stuff is just suggesting, um, like Andy's room,
yeah,
um, because there's no character that wears what I wear.
yeah,
I think one of my first ones was, oh, here it is. One of my first ones was Beauty and the Beast.
hmm,
So here's
okay,
my hat for Beauty and
yep,
the Beast. But oh, yeah, but yeah, so, but I think it's just suggesting, the
yeah,
characters and stuff like that. And it's, I mean, I used to, I remember way back when, I remember when there was a silk um Toy Story shirt on sale for $75. And now that's a joke on how much that's like so little compared to what I spend on them now. But I was like, I bought that shirt, and people were like, "Oh my God, I love that shirt. Where did you get it?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, at the store."
yeah,
But now it's even more because they've never seen this pattern or something on a shirt before, and they certainly haven't seen a matching hat.
yeah.
Um, well, one day I went to the park without the matching hat and got no attention at all. So it's like I have to have the matching hat.
The hat, yeah, the matching hat does it.
And it's a shame because now with the park so decreased in size, I hardly get any attention because you need the 100% filled so that you get lots of attention. But
Yeah,
anyway, so but it's fun. I mean, because they do have the photo pass,
yeah,
which I always get a photo and I always post it. And sometimes I do post it to my business page as well. Um, so, but yeah, and the reaction is always so positive and so cute. I mean, like for Christmas this year, I've got this was another dress thing that they were selling at the outlets for $40 each after Christmas. So I went and I have a shirt,
oh yeah,
a
that's
vest, and a
cool.
hat. And then I still have more fabric left over. But yeah, so
So, well, and like I said, it's just it's fun to see how much fun you have with it, to see your fandom. That's why I wanted you to talk to us, to
oh,
talk to the
great.
class and listeners. And so I thank you for that.
Okay.
I thank you for taking the time to talk with us. There is one last thing that I like to do, especially since ever we started meeting kind of these one-on-one visits during the pandemic. I like to do just a few rapid fire questions that
Okay.
they're off the top of your head. If you can explain if you want, you don't have to explain anything if you want,
Okay.
because you've kind of talked about some of them so far anyway. But um, you you obviously have an affinity to Walt Disney World and the area around Walt Disney World. Um, as far as the the kind of overall experience or resort, do you think do you prefer Walt Disney World or Disneyland?
Disney World.
Okay.
Disney World. Disneyland's fantastic. I mean, I've been there been there several times when I lived nearby. It doesn't have the same feel driving up as Disney World does,
Yeah.
because, and just for the same reason that Walt wanted all this land,
Yep.
it works. Um, it's funny that you could still see the castle from the streets.
Yeah.
There's certain homes that I could sell that you could see the castle from your house, which is insane to me. But you know, and I could see fireworks when they go from the
Hmm.
back of my house. But definitely, I think Disney World just has more to offer. There's more rides, there's more attractions, there's more things to do. Um, but Disneyland has the heritage of being the
Yes.
first,
Yeah.
and you know,
And the park that
so it is,
Walt
and it is
walked in.
very, very strange when you've been to one park so many times and then you go to the other one and you're in, like, you go from Disneyland being there, you know, how many times I must have been there, at least 30 or 40 times I went to Disneyland, and then to go to Disney World and like, this looks different.
Yeah.
It's just subtly different. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, they don't have this where I'm from.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to another branch of your grocery store and you're
Yeah.
like going, where the hell is, where am I?
You
The
start to
bread was
get
supposed to be
confused,
here.
the lands and everything. So of this could include Walt Disney World, Disneyland. If you've ever been to any of the international parks,
No.
what is your favorite park? Your favorite gate?
I really, because I don't feel it gets the love that I think it should, I really like Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
And and of course I love the characters there. I have I've taken pictures of them and made them into little posters in my gallery. I had Bo Wrangler, the cowboy actor, sign one of them. Um, I just love, and also 25 years ago was my first visit there.
Hmm.
And so it had a little bit of magic to it because I honestly was not following what was there.
Yeah.
And I love the little shows they do. I mean, I've seen the Voyage of the Little Mermaid probably 100 times.
Yeah.
And I got a cute story when my niece was with me and she was a year and a half old. Um, she was a year and a half old and she was sitting on my brother-in-law's lap, like standing on my brother-in-law's lap and watching it. And I was sitting next to her. And for the entire show, she went like this. I mean, she must have done, she just, and then she'd stop and go.
Yeah.
It was so incredibly cute. And every time I go there, when it was on, and I would send her a text message. I'm enjoying a show and nobody's hitting me. So yeah.
What
But yes, I
is
would say Holly, because now obviously I love Magic Kingdom.
yeah.
Obviously I love Epcot, but they all are like a niche market, and I think Hollywood Studios is really um, changing a lot with with the things that are coming in,
Hmm.
um, and not necessarily improving, but um, I love the new Mickey's Runaway
Yeah.
Railway, um, and because but I haven't been able to get onto Star Wars yet.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your any of the parks um favorite ride?
I love the Jungle Cruise,
Okay.
and I also in my house I actually have a Jungle Cruise room.
Okay. All
So
right.
when I moved to the new house, I started putting all my stuff together. Okay, what am I going to start decorating this room and this room? And I said, gosh, if I just change the color of the paint and stuff, I could make it a Jungle Cruise room. And
Yeah.
okay. So, but I actually go to one of my friends who's a cast member, uh, took me into property control, where they sell off furniture that used to be. So
Hmm.
I have authentic furniture from the parks,
Oh, that's
Animal
cool.
Kingdom, Treetop Village, um, you know, um, so in that room, and it's all
Yeah.
authentic. So, and then when I was doing this room, I just said, I'm going to do, I just said, I could really do a Toy Story theme,
Yeah.
and then I said, okay, because it's just, this would be so good in a short-term rental. So anyway, um, but yeah, so anyway, favorite ride, it was your question.
Yeah. Jungle
Jungle
Cruise.
Cruise.
Yeah.
Jungle Cruise. Least favorite ride is the I don't like to go on the stuff that's just fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Space Mountain, big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, unless I need my back realigned.
Do you have a favorite attraction that's a show?
Voyage of the Little Mermaid is
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
that one is, I just think that is so well done, when it's running. And I used to be, when I go to the parks, Hollywood Studios, that would be the first thing that I would go to.
Okay.
I mean, I think they need to update the technology, um, but it's the great ride.
Yeah. The
So
so next anywhere on property, I guess at Disneyland, Walt Disney World, that includes downtown Disney, Disney Springs as well. Do you have a favorite restaurant?
um, in Magic Kingdom, it would be Columbia House,
Okay.
which isn't open now. And Hollywood Studios, it's probably, yeah, it would be the 50s Cafe.
Okay.
That
And when one thing I do when I go to the parks is I do a lot of fast service as well. So I've been to Columbia House and really like that, the fish and chips at Epcot and everything that
Yeah, that's my other
uh
one. If I
yeah. The
and Via
but
Napoli, I'm
I
going there next week.
I haven't been there.
Oh, the pizza's incredible.
Yeah. But one thing that I do is I'm a big treats person. So anywhere on property, do you have a favorite treat?
Not now because I just lost 20 pounds, but I used to get, I used to, the premium bars are my favorite.
Okay, yeah,
I find that I don't gain weight the next day if I have the popcorn, which is strange. So I
yeah,
do indulge myself in the popcorn sometimes, but I haven't had a premium bar in a couple of months, um, which is really good willpower for me.
yeah.
But the $7
Good job.
price certainly doesn't, certainly help my diet. I
Yeah,
mean, the pretzels are $7 now.
yeah,
I mean, I used to get a premium bar for 250, and it's like it doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
yeah,
And a lot of the reason they raise the prices so much is because when you're in the meal plan, it's like, oh wow, I'm getting a $7 pretzel for free. No, you're not. The thing should be charged. They should charge a 350 for it because a normal pretzel is 150. But it's all a matter of marketing. So sometimes that's why I go, don't touch those things. I'm like, no, they're overpriced, and they're overpriced for a reason.
yeah,
So anyway, but for the people, if it's your one time there, Have a pretzel,
Yeah.
come on.
What last rapid fire question. This could be in the parks, any of the old movies, animated, any of the acquisitions, anything. Do you have a favorite character, a favorite Disney character?
I obviously I love Toy Story, but my favorite one growing up is by far Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely Mary Poppins. And I met Dick Van Dyke like 5 years ago.
Oh, that's really
Um,
cool.
yeah. So um, yeah, so yeah, so that's it, Mary Poppins. I wish I heard they were going to have the Mary Poppins ride attraction or whatever, and they've halted that because of COVID. But it'll all come back.
Yeah.
The Ratatouille looks amazing.
Yeah, it does.
It
The
really
preview they
does.
released looks really, really fun.
And the Guardians of the
Really cool.
Galaxy is in they need one of the things they need to do is they need game changers.
Hmm.
They need stuff that this is a different way of looking at stuff that you can't get elsewhere.
Hmm.
And I think certain things that's and I think that's what the Mickey's Runaway Railroad, um, that's a game changer.
Okay.
Because when you go in there, what you expect is not what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard it's just an
Oh yeah,
amazing, amazing attraction. Um,
yeah.
well, so if anyone wants to follow you on social media so they can see your interactions in the parks, how can they do that?
Well, I really should make a fan page. But if you go to disneyatyourdoorstep.com, you'll see all my links. That's probably
Okay.
the best way. Disneyatyourdoorstep.com, and you'll
Okay.
see a list of my links there.
Okay. Thank you very much. And again, Victor, thank you for taking the time to talk
No
with us.
problem.
This was a lot of fun. It's great to see somebody enjoying what they do, and letting that kind of help out in other facets of their life as well.
Well, I'll tell
So,
you, can I just say one thing is that I don't think I would enjoy real estate anywhere else. My family has my nieces said, why don't you sell in up here? And I go, no, it won't be. I can't imagine it being fun.
yeah,
I took some people out yesterday. We talked about Disney half the time.
yeah.
I'm making their dreams come true. When people email me from and I say, how's every, because I keep up with my customers, I'll think of them and I'll say, hey, how's everything going at the house? Everything working okay? You having any problems? And they go, no, thank you for making my dreams come true.
Yeah. Well, and that
You don't say that in Millburn, New Jersey. Thanks for making my dreams come true. No, they say, hey, my water heater doesn't work. Am I covered? you know.
Well, and how does it to close out, how does it feel to know that you're able to provide that service for people?
Well, I know based on my own experience with realtors how absolutely horrible they can be by not listening to what their needs are and being able to see their needs and say, yes, I can show you that. And I can also show you this
Hmm.
if you have 15 minutes. Okay, I showed you this. You liked it, you didn't like it. But a lot of times I sell people stuff that they had no idea existed. So, and like I went to one of my customers the other day and I dropped off a congratulations, a, a celebration button. You know how they give the free buttons
Hmm.
at the parks? So now when I close a house, I give them free buttons that say celebrating our new Florida home.
Yeah.
So one of them saw it online and said, oh, I would really like that. So I dropped off a couple the other day. But it's really, that was a place that we went to that they did not know existed.
Hmm.
And I took them there and and I said, listen, let's just look at it, drive by. And then I take them aside halfway through and I go, okay, do you like what the salesman? They're all, we love it. And I'm like, great. Because I was listening to them. I knew what their needs were. And I went a little bit, just one step further, and we didn't get them an over 55 community, which actually wouldn't have been perfect for them. I got them a community that had very low HOA fees and a beautiful view.
Yeah.
So, it's a great feeling, because when they tell you, because I never had a realtor that found something better than I was thinking.
Yeah.
Um, I had realtors that found me what I was thinking,
Yeah.
and what I was thinking before I got my real estate license wasn't correct.
Yeah.
So, I wanted short-term rental. They showed me stuff that wasn't good for short-term rental because they didn't know the marketplace. So it's great that's why you have to, when you're in real estate, you have to know your niche.
Yeah.
Because there's, and anyway, so that's, I find it very, it's fun. And I actually never thought it was going to be fun. I
Yeah.
never thought real estate was going to be fun. I thought it was like, oh God, real estate, I don't want to do that, but it's actually, you make it, you, if you have the opportunity, you can make it what you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Victor, for doing this. And keep having fun. keep keep letting everybody see how much you have fun. And thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.